When you think about great basketball players, the first thought that comes to your mind is probably a tall hooper who is at least 6 feet tall. And that is for obvious reasons. The best hoopers in the basketball community are quite tall. We got Frank Nitti, who is 6 feet 2, Solomonati, who is 6 feet 6, and of course LSK, who is 6 feet 8. So when a 6+ feet tall hooper challenges a shorter opponent, most people would assume that the tall hooper would win. However, sometimes quite the opposite happens. Bone Collector is a legendary street basketball player who is barely even 6 feet. Challenged a professional basketball player who so happened to be 7 feet 6 tall. The height difference is massive. It's actually insane. Just look at them standing next to each other. There is no way that Bone Collector would win. Surprisingly enough, Bone managed to beat Mamadou in the first game by literally skunking him. Bone Collector had to shoot over the giant pro without being able to see the rim. That's how massive the height gap between the two. Not only that, but Bone managed to cross the professional hooper in both the first and the second game. However, to be fair, Mamadou was not even trying. He was being nice and not using his strength and height to his advantage. I mean, if he really wanted to win, he could have spammed this the entire game. Bone literally had no response for that move, but Mamadou was being nice and in a way he let Bone win that game. However, his game against TJS was a lot more serious. TJS is an elite ball handler who's both talented and passionate about basketball. He stands around 5'11" tall. As you can see, he is even shorter than Bone Collector. So once again, it's crazy to assume that he would beat Mamadou. The game was pretty close and even from both sides. However, TJS utilized his quickness and shiftiness to bypass Mamadou and score layups. And once the pro hooper caught up to TJS strategy, TJS adjusted his game plan and opted for long range shots, and he did not disappoint. They were playing NBA 3-point arc, and TJS was draining them as if they were free throws. It was a masterpiece. One of the best shooting performances I have ever seen. Just look at how deep he's shooting from. To be fair, Mamadou did take the game a lot more seriously than the one against Bone. However, Mamadou could have won had he decided to post up the entire game.
Let's be honest here. If he really wanted to, he could have beat me 15-0 by bringing my ass down in the paint every single time. So
no, he's joking, man. He got the shot for real. This man, he can hoop.
The Professor is a legendary street basketball player who is known for his ball handling skills and smooth jumper. A 6'6" hooper who seemed like he knew how to hoop challenged the street basketball legend. The Professor is around 5'10", so the height difference is very significant. The challenger was on a roll at first, giving the Professor a hard time, clearly experienced in 1v1s. However, once the Professor picked up the pace and warmed up, it was over. The Professor was doing all types of ball handling tricks, nutmegs and crossovers. Quickly, the game became one-sided. It got to the point that it was not even a challenge. The Professor was having fun, humiliating his opponent by doing stuff like these. It's safe to say that he won't challenge the Professor again to a 1v1. Marcellus Howard is a great hooper and a staple in the YouTube basketball community, and despite being around 5'7", he is one of the best hoopers on YouTube. Jalen Clark, who's a professional basketball player and an NBA prospect at the time, played against Marcellus Howard in a 1v1 game. Jalen is literally 6'5", so the height difference is massive, and on top of all of that, he's a professional basketball player. However, the outcome of the game was nothing like anyone expected. Jalen at first was not taking the game seriously, messing around and easily blocking Cell's shot using his reach and height advantage. But Marcellus didn't like the fact that his opponent was messing around and immediately locked in. Cell swiped the ball from Jalen more times than I could count. He was stealing the ball almost every single time that Jalen would dribble the ball. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but you get the picture. Cell ended up beating Jalen 5-1. Jalen only managed to score a single bucket. This has to be one of Marcellus' best performances I have ever seen.
Wow. That's heavy. Hey, that's a beat. 5-1. That's bad. That's
he's actually certified. I'll give him that. He is certified hooper.
Hey, people sleep, man. I play cards, bro, man. Come on now. Come on.
Back in 2021, Cam Wilder went up against Kenny Chow in the HOH Greater League 1v1 tournament, and you can tell by his demeanor that he was confident that he was going to beat Kenny. I mean, after all, Cam is 6'4" and Kenny is only 5'7", so he's going to win, right? Well, long story short, it didn't end well for Cam. Kenny completely shocked everyone by dominating the first game, at some point even posting up Cam Wilder in the paint, draining threes from deep and winning game 1. Cam managed to beat Kenny in game 2, however game 3 was a one-sided game. Kenny dominated the last game. It was so bad that he made it seem like Cam had no chance of winning at all. Although we covered great examples of tall hoopers being destroyed by shorter opponents, I think the most humiliating one by far was Flight React's loss to Cheesaholic. Back in the prehistoric era of YouTube basketball, Flight React's 1v1 Cheesaholic, probably thinking it was going to be an easy win. However, it was an absolute humiliation for Flight, and one of the worst losses that I have ever seen him take throughout his entire career. Flight Reacts is 6'3", meanwhile Cheesaholic is only 5'2". Flight is literally a foot taller than his opponent, and despite that massive height advantage, Flight got skunked.
15, man, 15.
Obviously, Flight couldn't go out like that and immediately requested to extend the game so that he could at least make a shot. However, it only made things worse. Cheese literally drove every single time to the basket and laid the ball with his left hand, and Flight had no answer to that whatsoever. Cheesaholic treated the court as if it was his own living room. It was so embarrassing that after the game was over, Flight immediately realized that it had to be one of the worst basketball L's that he has ever taken, and at some point even contemplating about not posting the video.
Oh yeah, clamps. Yeah, clamps. Yeah.
Oh my God. The f off my court. I'm about to jump off the building, man. Come here. I'm about to jump. I'm about to take the leap, bro. The f lost 15 and 6. This nigga's 5'3", man. Bro, I don't know why the f you're pissing me off so much, bro.
Cheesaholic vs Flight is a prime example of short hoopers destroying taller players, and listen to everyone watching that height in basketball means nothing if you don't put in the work and train hard. So never underestimate your opponent, no matter how short or small they may seem, and never get too complacent relying on only your height.
I've always tried to walk the line between us, so pay no mind to my pride. I don't need it.